Hope Channel, changing lives.
Good evening, viewers. We are live on Hope TV Ghana. We are happy to have you on Hope TV to continue on with our stewardship seminar. From Monday, we have looked at lots of things pertaining to stewardship. And we have had Pastor Dr. Paul Edu-Sampa, the former Stewardship and Strategy Planning Director of the Southern Ghana Union Conference of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, who is currently the Family Ministries Director, present to us lots of things on stewardship, especially tithing, offering, and then project giving. I am sure tonight you are really prepared for us. Pastor will do a 30 minutes presentation. After the presentation, we'll have the opportunity to ask questions. I am sure that your pens and papers are ready. So if it is time for you to ask questions, you can send your questions to the number 055-968-0066. 055-968-0066. Pastor, good evening.
Good evening.
Pastor, I hope you are fine.
I'm very fine.
Pastor, what are we looking at this evening?
Should I receive this from you?
Should I receive this from you?
You have something in your hands.
Wow.
And you want to give it to God.
Wow.
And God is asking you this question.
Wow.
Looking at what He has done for you, is it matching with what you are having? Wow. So He's asking whether He should receive it from you.
Wow.
And the answer will come from you tonight.
Wow. Interesting. So let us stay tuned as Pastor presents, should I receive it from you?
Good evening, viewers. We are happy to have you once again this evening. I have been told that tomorrow will be the last presentation for the week. And then we'll go and celebrate the Sabbath with the Lord and the first day of the following week and come back on Monday to continue. And so I believe that you will cross-check with all the important points that we have made so that this seminar will not be a waste actually for your time, but it should benefit you. Tonight, like I've said, should I receive this from you? You see, Adventists many at times consider offering as a less important issue, because in Malachi, we have the tithe as a priority. In fact, what we don't know is that before you can understand Malachi chapter 3, verse 10, you should match it from verse 8. That will give you a broader picture of what the Lord is looking for from you. Now, in Malachi chapter 3, verse 8, will a man rob God? And he said, in what way have we robbed you? And then he said, in tithe and offering. But strangely, when you come to verse 10, the word there is bring ye all the tithe. So where is the offering? Some are tempted to say that the offering is part of the tithe. But in verse 8, he never said that. He said, you are robbing me in tithe and in offering. And so checking anything about offering in chapter 3, you won't find it. And that's how sometimes we feel that God needed a tithe so much so that the offering is less important. Not knowing God has spent a whole chapter of Malachi chapter 1 to talk about the offering. And therefore, if you want to understand it better, you need to go to chapter 1 and not chapter 3. Chapter 3 emphasize on the tithe, but chapter 1 is about your offering. And therefore tonight I want to open it up for you to know where we got it wrong and see how best we can meet these challenges and be a better giver to the Lord for the mercies He has had on us. There's a woman in the Bible I so much hate. I have never named any child after that woman until quite recently, when I got to know that she didn't act with her own mind. It was something that influenced her. And she's no other person than Madame Rebecca, Isaac's wife. I have read over and over about Rebecca and his two sons. And I have never liked the way she treated Esau. I have never liked it. She treated Esau as an infidel. I don't even know the name to use for Esau. She treated more than a maid servant, more than a manservant or something. I don't want to, review it seriously, because it seriously affects me. I don't believe that a mother can treat her own son the way she did. It's so painful, very painful. And sometimes when I read it, I shed tears. Honestly, it really pains me. A boy who has served the master all his life, a father all his life, he has spent all he has, and he deserved it because he's the oldest. And by tradition, he is to inherit the father and take care of the family when the father passes on. And so he played his role so well that they didn't actually deserve to be treated this way. But yet, the mother led in taking the fortune away from his son. Meanwhile, the other son is also a son. These two children are twins. So I don't know, and I didn't read from anywhere in the Bible where Esau offended the mother. I was really hurt. Now, I will do a quick review. We will not go into details because it's so painful that when I do it, it hurts me. It's found in Genesis chapter 27, and I'm picking 1 to 3 and verse 5. When Isaac was old and his eyes were so weak that he could no longer see, he called for Esau, his older son, underline the word older son, and said to him, "My son, here I am," he answered. Then he said, "Behold, now I am old. I do not know the day of my death. Now then, get your weapons, your quiver and bow, and go out to the open country to hunt some wild game for me." Verse 5 is a shocking news. Verse 5 says, "Now Rebekah was listening as Isaac spoke to his son Esau." The mother was hiding somewhere. I don't know whether she was behind the door or at the back of the building, listening through the window. Heard everything the father said. And then she went quickly. In verse 6, Rebekah spoke to Jacob, her son, saying, "Indeed, I heard your father speak to Esau, your brother, saying, 'Bring me game and make savory food for me, that I may eat it and bless you in the presence of the Lord before my death.'" Says, "I heard your father saying this. Now, my son, listen carefully and do what I tell you." It's a command to Jacob. Do what I tell you. Do what I tell you. What did the mother said? "Let us rather prepare the food from this house. Get one of the sheep and let's kill it. Cook quickly and go and present the food that your father has requested from your brother Esau. Go and present this as that food, so that the father may bless you. The father may bless you." Wow. Esau listened to the mother as she says that. Then he said, "Mommy, it is not possible. Mommy, I can't do it." And Rebekah said, "Why can't you do it?" And he said, "Because Daddy will identify me that I'm not Esau." Why? Because Esau was so hairy and you know I have a smooth skin and no hair. So daddy would identify that. And then the mother says, don't worry. We'll use the skin of the sheep to cover your hands. And because daddy don't see well, when you meet with him, present the hand that is covered, and he will feel the hairy skin and will accept that you are Esau. Mommy plotting against his own blood, his own son. I can't believe this one. I cannot. Then the boy said, well, even that, if I do that, and Esau get to know that I cheated him by collecting these blessings from him, Mommy, he'll curse me. He'll curse me. Then verse 13 says that Rebekah assured Jacob that, Jacob, my son, don't worry, let the curse fall on me. Go and collect that blessings from your brother. If he curses you, let the curse fall on me. Just do what I say. Wow. The boy will not understand still. He brought another issue. Say, Daddy would definitely call me to come closer for him to embrace and kiss me before he blesses me. And he will hear the sense that I am Jacob. Again, in verse 15, Rebekah came with a solution. And she said, I'm going to the wardrobe of your brother Esau. So she went and took the best clothes of Esau, her older son, and gave it to Jacob. That use this, wear this, wear this. And once you wear this, I'm not sure your daddy can discover that it is you. Wear this. So, well, he has actually said all his mind. Mommy will not agree. Mommy definitely wants him to collect the blessings from his brother. That's all. So, verse 18, Jacob went to the father's room, Isaac, and introduced himself. Then, verse 18, Isaac asked him, which of my sons are you? And he lied to his father. He lied to his father. What did he say? He says, I am Esau, your firstborn. Verse 20. The father was really shocked. How come that you were going to the forest to hunt for meat, and you have this short time come, cooked, and everything is ready? I can't believe it. So verse 20, the father, probed it further. He says, how did you find it so quickly? And again, Jacob lied. The Lord your God gave me sources. So I believe that he arrested the animal and made me kill it. So it went so fast. He replied, the Lord your God gave me sources. Verse 21. The voice is Jacob's voice. Isaac identified. The voice is Jacob's voice. But the hands are the hands of Esau. Because when he felt it, he realized that Jacob has all of a sudden turned a hairy person. So he could hear the voice that it is Jacob speaking. But he was not very sure. So he said, well, today I'm seeing two personalities in one person. And he identified this way. Verse 27. Isaac did something that he has always been doing to Esau. He said, come closer. Please come closer. And unknown to Jacob, when he went closer, Isaac embraced him. And he kissed him. And Isaac smelled the fragrance of his clothes and realized that he was Esau. With that, he blessed him. He knelt. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord take care of you. May the Lord bless the work of your hands. May the Lord make you never wanting. Whatever you intend to do, may the Lord lead. May the Lord make your descendants flout, grow in peace, and lead society. He pronounced all kinds of blessings on Jacob. Soon after, Jacob went out. And he was afraid that his brother, when he comes to meet with this confusion, he will kill him. Quickly, Rebekah went ahead, prepared some meal and water, and asked Jacob to go to his uncle, Laban, to leave the vicinity completely and go. When to come back, they never discussed it. But Esau arrived later and presented the meal. In verse 33, Esau came after and introduced himself. Then Isaac trembled exceedingly. The father was shaking, trembling, because he has been deceived. So you know the story. He told his son Esau, your brother has collected all the blessings, and I don't have any for you. So, Daddy, all this while, all my life, Daddy, you can't say that. He said, well, what is left is curse. And the boy said, even that, I would like to receive something from you before you die. And he knelt. And curse was laid on him. You struggle to build, but it will be destroyed. Termites will destroy your, crops and everything. You go very hungry. You build and God will demolish. You struggle to survive, but you get little. All that was said was not favorable, but he knelt. As soon as he got up, with tears, he went out of the room. He has labored in vain. I kept reading this from the book of Genesis, but never checked on it from Malachi. So I always blame Rebekah for this wicked act, its wickedness. I didn't name any of my children. I had 3 girls. I never named any of them Rebekah, because I don't believe a mother could treat his own son this way. But when I came to Malachi, I said, oh, so it was not her mind. God wanted us to compare 2 things. Whom he loved and blessed, and who is living on the love of God and the blessings of God, as against somebody who is struggling for life with his own strength. The difference. So he took somebody whose duty is to inherit the father and eventually be the head of the family when the father is no more, and take care of the family and ask for blessings and prosperity. He took that person away. Even though that person deserves it, he took him away and placed his own brother, who is not the oldest, who does not deserve to be the head of the family, and bless that young one, for us to compare the two and know how to deal with God, the Creator himself. So when I read this, I said, oh, so this is the reason. Malachi chapter 1, verse 2 and 3. I have loved you, says the Lord. But you ask, how have you loved us? Then he posed a question quickly. Was not Esau Jacob's brother? So you were aware of what happened. God was asking, was not Esau Jacob's brother? The Lord says, yet I have loved Jacob, but Esau I have hated, and I have turned his mountains into wasteland and left his inheritance to the desert jackals. Wow. So now God wants us to compare the two. He has loved Jacob, he has blessed him through Isaac, and he has hated Esau, who is supposed to rather have, should be blessed, he has hated him, and wanted us to compare the two. The one working with God's love and blessings as against the one using his own strength to live or to survive. And he wanted us to compare the two to understand why we need to lean on God for him to love and bless us. Now check this, verse 3. Let's go back to verse 4. Even though Edom has said, now Edom is the descendants of Esau. So God said, even though Edom has said, we have been impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. That says the Lord of hosts. They may build, but I will throw it down again. I will demolish it. They shall be called the territory of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord will have indignation forever. I'll continue to punish them and destroy any good thing they will do, because I want them to struggle with their own strength without the blessings of God and without the love of God. And I want Jacob to demonstrate that even though he doesn't deserve it, once God says, I love and I will bless you, the difference will be so clear. After verse 4, I want to say this. The love of God and his blessings makes the difference. From the story, it was obvious that the one God loves flourished, but the one he hates struggled with life with his own strength. Can you see the difference? So after using the two sons to demonstrate the effect of his love to his children, he posed this wonderful question. Malachi chapter 1 verse 6. A son honors his father, and a servant his master. If then I am the father, where is my honor? Where is my honor? And if I am a master, where is my reverence? Says the Lord of hosts. Yet you say, in what way have we despised your name? Now God is going to prove you. Look at here. Malachi 1, 7 and 8. You don't check what you offer as offering to me. What you whom I have loved, what you whom I have blessed, the way you deal with me in giving my offerings, I hate it. In those days, they were animals. In our days, it is money. Yesterday I quoted it. And God is saying, you offer defiled food on my altar. Defiled food, something that when they give it to you, you will not even eat it. You will not even use it. Imagine your husband gets up in the morning and wanted to go to work and leaves 5 cedis on the table as what you need to live on with the children for the day. I don't know how many of you will bless that husband. That may God bless you to get in abundance. I don't know who would do that. I don't know who would do that. So God said, you offer defiled food on my altar. By saying, in what way have we defiled you? By saying the table of the Lord is contemptible. Verse 8. And when you offer the blind as a sacrifice, sometimes it's not about whether the money is small or big, but a blind. You can see somebody's money for offering. It tells you that person has no respect for God. Never. A torn city. Sometimes when you are checking the money and you look at the money they put for tithe, very neat, very beautiful, and according to maybe the 10% that the Lord himself said. Come to the offering side. Somebody who has given about 100 Ghana cedis will put 5 cedis, 2 cedis, 1 cedi in the offering side. And he said that is what they give in appreciation to the love of God and the blessings he has bestowed on them. When I read this, I was shocking. And when you offer the blind as a sacrifice, is it not evil for all that I have done for you, for giving a name amongst your people, for making you so special, and this is how you treat me? Is it not evil? And when you offer the lame, the sick, is it not evil? So painfully, he said, go and offer it then to your governor. Go to the Jubilee House. President Akufo-Addo is there. Go and give the same that you've been giving to me to him. Would he be pleased with you? Are you sure? Even your governor, you can do that to him. And I, the Creator, who is sustaining you every day in life, depriving the devil to destroy things that will make you prosper. And is that the way you treat me? Would he accept you favorably? Says the Lord of hosts. Will that governor, will that president in the Jubilee House, if you treat the Lord in terms of offering, the way you have been doing it? And you see, sometimes you hear people talking about why can't we see the distribution of the tithe and the rest? The offering is to run the church. And so we are making the church poorer and poorer because we are not doing it right. We are not doing it right. I'm telling you today, reform from this attitude, and you see the real God that we worship. Now check with me on Malachi chapter 1 verse 13, where the bullet was actually thrown out. You also say, oh, what a weariness. What a weariness. I was enjoying myself not going to church. What a weariness for becoming an Adventist. Every day demand, every day go out there to preach, every day we need money. What a weariness. And you snare at it. So when you are bringing it, it doesn't carry any weight again because you snare at it. You check the list and give it out, just to fulfill all righteousness. Can you imagine a church member going to church and will not take the offering for the Lord? Then when the ushers are coming, they will search their pockets and there is nothing. Then they will tell the one sitting by, normally collect from people sitting by. The words that you tell the person is, well, when we close, I'll give it to you. How many of us go back to pay that money? So it's robbing somebody in the house of God. And you bring the stolen, the lame, and the sick. Thus you bring an offering. Is that the way to bring an offering? Is that the way you have been doing to me? And you call it offering. Offering this to me. The last sentence there is, should I accept this from your hand? The way I have done, the way I have fought for your survival, the way I have protected you from all harm and danger, the way I have blocked the devil and his agents against your success. Is that the way you treat me? Should I accept this from your hand, says the Lord? And he signs his name there. So you may bring, but looking at what I have done for you, will rather call for something else, not to accept it in good faith. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, listening to tonight's stewardship, I want to call your attention back to this. That care more about your offering, and the Lord will have more mercy on you. Care more. Just as you manage the tithe, think about the offering, because it is the Lord who is demanding the tithe and the offering, and never put one superior against the other. And therefore, you need to tonight check it carefully. Look through the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. See whether the offering is not important or less important as against the tithe. Because it is the same Creator who is demanding both. The one about the tithe is to let God, when we talk about the tithe, it is your faithfulness to God. Yes, your faithfulness to God. When you return faithful tithe, it makes you faithful and truthful. But the offering is your own investment. It is the offering that at the end of the day will call for the blessings. And that is where we lack most as Adventists. We don't give. We don't give offering at all. If the Lord should talk about proportional, which I have talked over and over again this week, I believe if you've really understood what we are presenting for this week, things will change. Your offering sometimes sounds as an abuse to the Creator who gave you the option to offer. We are not sponsoring the needs of the church. We don't give offering because the church needed money. But you give offering in appreciation to what the Lord has done for you. And so be careful about your offerings, because it's creating more harm than good for your success or for your prosperity. And therefore, look at it again from tonight. So soon, the weekend, the Sabbath is coming. Tomorrow is a day of preparation. Begin thinking about how much offering you can give to the Lord from tonight. Well, tomorrow sundown, the Sabbath has come. And you know, maybe you've not been told, Friday sundown is the cut-off date for tithe and offering, because the 6 working days has ended. And so as soon as the sun sets, working hours has ended for the week. The next is accountability, giving your tithe and your offering to the Lord. Brothers and sisters, let's do this, like I said, and prove me now. Let's do it as He has ordered, and prove Him that He will not open the windows of heaven. But you have been doing it anyhow, and so you have been denied of that blessings. Because if you claim you have been receiving the blessings as promised, then the next sentence says that it will come to the extent that you have no room enough to receive it. And can you testify that is happening in your life? You are still struggling. Start something from tonight. The cut-off date is tomorrow sunset. At sunset, meet as a family. If you don't want that way, sit somewhere quietly and check your blessings for the week and see what the Lord deserves as offering. For the tithe, He has given the percentage. The offering, you have to decide. And now to end, let me quote you this. Wrong motivation while giving an offering may be very risky to the spiritual life of the steward. The motivation for giving an offering should be of far more importance to the worshipper than a mere support of funding the church to meet its financial obligations. Listen, it were better not to give at all than to give grudgingly. For if we impart of our means when we have not the spirit to give freely, we mock God. You make mockery of God. This is from Counsels on Stewardship, page 199. to end, I'm giving you this Bible quotation. And then I will take my seat for the questions. Luke chapter 12, verse 48. This is a direct statement from Jesus. Jesus says, "For everyone to whom much is given on the Sabbath, from him much will be required." So there will be a member of the church who will give 10 cedis, and heaven will open for that poor member. You may give 100 cedis, but it doesn't match anything in the kingdom. Because listen to this carefully. For everyone to whom much is given, from him much will be required. So heaven is requiring that the way he has blessed you from Sunday to Friday sunset, he's expecting you to respect him, for him to continue to shower his blessings. Now listen to the last sentence. And to whom much has been committed, of him they will ask the more. Of that same person, heaven will ask the more. And so don't look at people who are giving CD, 10 CD, 20 CDs and the rest, when you are not in that category. But do as will please your maker. For he says, I have loved you. And if you don't understand, it's Jacob, not Esau's brother. But I love Jacob, and you saw the difference. And I hate Esau, and who was working with his hands, who was doing his best to survive. And yet he will build, and heaven will supervise the destruction of his buildings. May the Lord bless you. Think about the offering and do it right. And Lord will be happy that he has blessed you. Thank you very much.
Whoa, thank you very much, Pastor. Should I receive this from you? Should I receive this from you? So the question is, has God been receiving what we've been offering to him? Pastor, thank you so much.
Thank you too.
There are a lot of questions coming through, but let me begin with this one. Pastor, what did Esau do wrong for him to be hated by God?
I also really don't understand why that incident really happened. But what I learned from it was that God did that to those twins for our sake.
Okay.
He wanted us to have two items to compare.
Okay.
And so I don't see Esau, doing anything wrong, because it was not recorded anywhere in the Bible that he offended even the mother.
Okay.
But God, he was a legitimate person who is supposed to inherit the father. And God swapped it to let you know whom he has blessed against who is struggling with his own strength.
So keep your messages coming through on 055-968-0066, 055-968-0066. Now, Pastor, we saw a defiled food in the Malachi text you read. Today, what is referred to as a defiled food?
Well, in their time, they were using animals. In our time, we are using money. Now, can a money be defiled? Depending upon who is bringing it, it can.
Okay.
For instance, as you sit here as a pastor, if you are to show your appreciation to what God has done for you, the quantum will encourage or discourage heaven.
Okay.
So you need to check those things.
Okay. All right. So let me take questions. I promised to take yesterday's questions. So, Pastor, pardon me to go back to yesterday. Good evening, Pastor. Please, are you aware that there are some pastors who own businesses along their pastoral work? Udro.
Well, it is possible.
Yes.
So I won't deny that fact.
Okay.
But I'm saying that whether a pastor owns a business or not, the requirement is that he must return a faithful tithe and offering.
Okay. All right. Then today's questions. Pastor, God bless you for the discussions. You told us to bring our tithes from our interests. My question is this. I'm having a mango tree in my house, and I sold the food just this week. So is it possible for me to return tithe from the money that I get? Thank you.
You've answered it already. You see, you sold it, and so in your case, there has been an income, and we return tithe on the income, and so you are obliged to do that.
Okay. Good evening, Pastor. Please, my question is this. Is there no provision for offering to be offered outside the church? It appears we only talk about offering to the church. Will God not accept our offerings to the poor and needy?
Well, we have thought it over and over, and we have been doing it. So, you see, when we talk about going to heaven, Jesus gave the criteria in the book of Matthew. And it says, on the day that the Son of Man will come, they will divide the world into two.
Yes.
Like the shepherd will divide the goat from the sheep. And he said the sheep will go on his right. And he will ask them to go for the kingdom. And the requirement was that he was hungry, they gave them food. He was naked, they clothed him. He went to prison, they visited. He fell sick, and he was hospitalized, and they came to visit, and so on and so forth. And the people asked him, when did we do all this to you? And he said, as you do unto your brothers, or any one of these, you have done it to me. So you see that the going to heaven is actually taking care of the needy and the poor. The rich young guy who went to God, Jesus, to ask about what good thing he could do, God referred him to the commandments. He said, well, I started from my childhood. Then he said, go and sell all you have, give it to the poor, and come to me. And this is not absent in our worship. We've been doing it a lot. You see, you give your tithe 10%, and you have 90% with you, and you gave your offering. The percentage will be decided tonight. You know it. Maybe you've done it already. Between now and tomorrow, you should now give not by quantum, by proportional. So now I don't know which percentage you are going to take, but even let's say you match it with the tithe, 10%, 10%. You have 80% that you need to think about the poor and the needy and yourself. So that one you don't bring it to the church unless the church collectively want to go for a particular institution and assist in taking care of the poor and the needy. So that one is every Christian's responsibility.
Yes. Sometimes even after communion service.
Yes. Now after communion service, we lift an offering that is to go for the next meal and the poor and the needy, including widows and so on. So that's also another important.
Thank you very much, Pastor. Must tithe and offering only be returned on Sabbath? If it is an act of worship, can't I return it on any day? Well,
having said all this, let me also help you with this understanding. If you return your tithe on Tuesday, Tuesday is a working day and the week has not ended. So Wednesday's one will also be demanded on the Sabbath. And so that's how come it could be done on daily basis, but that's how come we do it on the Sabbath.
I think that brings to mind the Momo thing.
The Momo.
All right. RKT야 says, many thanks, Pastor. In terms of offering, what could go wrong if we decide to systematically allocate our offerings to the church coffers? Will that not amount to some computational metrics with God?
I didn't get the question.
All right. It says that in terms of offering, what could go wrong if we decide to systematically allocate our offerings to the church coffers? Would that not amount to some computational metric?
When do you allocate it?
When do you allocate it?
To the church coffers.
To the church coffers.
You mean from your business, you just send it to the church coffers?
Yes, directly.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with it. Once it goes to the storehouse, I believe that when Cornelia was the storehouse keeper in Shemer, people were bringing it even on Thursdays or whatever day that they get it. But I'm saying that if you return your tithe, let's say Tuesday or Wednesday, and you have not stopped working, tithe will still be demanded by the end of the working days.
Okay. Good evening, Pastor. I think Pastor Sampe's presentation on offering has subtle compulsion laced all around. If someone genuinely gives 5 Ghana cedis as offering, it must be better than giving 1,000 Ghana cedis grudgingly in conformity to social norms and expectations. This is basic principle of giving. I think that he is contributing.
Thank you. Yeah, I think so.
If I decide to send my offering to support outreach programs like EWT Bible Series or to the Bible Society of Ghana, is there any hinge with this approach?
You are disbursing it, and that's your problem. You see, the man who owns it says, take it to the storehouse. And he has people there he has put in place to disperse it. And yet you still have the chunk of your money that you made for the week. Let's say 80% of it will still be with you, that you can send some to Bible Society or wherever you want it. For now, the issue is that he has directed that you should take what belongs to God to the storehouse. And that ends your work. And I like the question in a way, because a lot of people, when they have the tithe, they still call it my tithe.
Yes.
But it's not for you again. Because you think it's your tithe. That's why you met somebody on the way who needed it and you gave it. But it's not your tithe. If you have been sent, it says, bring. So you've been sent. Bring the tithe to the storehouse. Bring all. So when you give some on the way to somebody, you are still taking the money or the tithe as your own. So the direction must be followed. Bring all the tithe. Where? To the storehouse. And Cornelia and Shemer are there waiting for you. So you'll be a very bad servant. When you are sent, you begin to share what you've been sent for on the way as you go. I'm not sure that your master will be happy with you.
Pastor, when you were presenting, you talked about bringing dirty money.
Yes.
To God.
Yes. Like they say, rotten food to the altar. Now, what is there is that if you are careful and conscious of whom you are taking the money to, and what is meant for, is meant for your appreciation to what the Lord has done for you. And so you are going to show an appreciation. In this mood, it's serious. You must give that respect to the receiver. And that's why he said, go and present it to your governor and see how he will treat, whether he will be happy with you. So you need to even check what you are presenting. And don't say that, oh, I saw it in Beko Bank. Why should you do that? You disrespect the cross.
And a bit about crumpling the money. Because
once you have planned it well from home, it should be somewhere in the Bible. It should be somewhere in the envelope. It's well wrapped, neat. Let the person feel that you really respect him for what you are bringing. So that's the most important aspect of it.
All right. So you see that the treasurers would have to straighten the money all the time, because and then there's some misconceptions that the right should not see what the left is doing, so you'd have to crumple it so that nobody sees it, then you put it in the bowl.
Yeah, you can also put it in an envelope that nobody sees it.
Yes.
So why wouldn't you? You see, we have organized the tithe envelopes in such a way that every member should have two. So this Sabbath, we take the first envelope to the church. Your money is inside. I won't see it. Then the treasurers will work on it during the weekend. Then by the next Sabbath, you come with the second envelope, and this one is ready. So always there will be one with you. Why wouldn't you, if you don't want anybody to see it, instead of scrambling it this way, why wouldn't you put it in an envelope and present it nicely?
All right. So the next question is, what is the offering in the local church used for?
The other day, the first night, I said the local church receives 50% of the offering. And that is used to run the day-to-day administration of the church.
Okay.
And then 10% is taken to the district for them to continue to expand the work in the territory. 10% is taken to the conference. Then 5% goes to the union, 5% go to division, and 20% to the general conference.
Okay.
So that's the distribution plan.
Okay. So in that order, the follow-up is, what about the one that goes to the conference? What is it used for?
We have the non-tithe income. That is the offering. That goes to the conference. What is it used for? It is when you write an application to the conference that your church building the roof have been pulled off. That is the money that they will use to help you re-roof your building. Or you came and said, well, we have a problem. What is the problem? You need to invite the conference officers to attend to a harvest, let's say a harvest, and the conference needs to give out money. That money is taken from the non-tithe income.
Okay.
So the tithe has been stipulated for evangelism and the service of the ministry, but the offering is called non-tithe income, and that is used for all those auxiliary things.
Good evening, Pastor. Please, I took a loan to buy a tricycle to work. Please, how will I take the tithe?
Continue to pay the loan through the bank where you took it. And whatever income that you make from the tricycle, give your tithe and offering.
Okay. So you continue to say that, is it after the payment of the loan?
When do you think you finish paying the thing? You have gone to take the money. You see, the interesting thing is that you went to the bank.
Yes.
And is it prepaid? Yeah, you collect the money when you have not worked for. So on monthly basis, you need to pay for the money you collected. But the tricycle is a capital investment, so it keeps working and yielding, interest, and that is where you have to pay your tithe and offerings.
Okay. Should I return offering because it was well promoted in church?
Actually, it's because of our weakness. That is why we promote tithe and offering. We don't promote tithe to church members because it's an agreement between the member and his creator. In fact, without tithe, you don't believe in God. Can you imagine that? Because the purpose for creating man is to be a caretaker, a steward. And when you know that what you are managing is not your own, but it's for your creator, from time to time you need to render an account and give him his portion of the 10%. So you don't need promotion for that. Can I promote to tell you, give me a tithe of 15%? No, the owner has given his figure. So we don't need promotion. But the offering itself even doesn't deserve it. But because I cannot tell you, give so much offering. Manindos, give it more, give God more. It's not fair. As soon as I dictate on how much you should give, it's no more an offering. It's now a demand. But just to remind you that the Lord deserves your tithe and your offering.
Okay.
So it's a reminder. It's not a promotion.
Okay. Pastor, there is yesterday you said something, and it was spotted on. No tithe, no offering.
Yes. I quoted from the Spirit of Prophecy that says that after the tithe is cancelled on Sabbath School lesson, page 130, it says, after the tithe is set apart, let gifts and offering be apportioned as God has prospered you. So it is after. When we mention after, it means if you have not deducted the tithe, don't bring the offering.
Wow.
And this is a serious statement that you can only. And so when the list of givings are listed, you start with the tithe. You need to settle with God, the Creator, first, and then you come to the next and the next and the next. And the God, the Creator, says that settling with Him on tithe is not enough. You are robbing me of in tithe and offering. So when you are done with the two, you can think about the gifts and other, benevolent figures you have fixed for others.
Okay. Pastor, what do you say about the discomfort in watching the bull pass by, even when you have returned your tithe and offering?
Because we wanted to satisfy the congregation. But if really, before heaven, and you know that you have returned your tithe, do you care about when the bull is passing by? You don't.
Okay.
But because we want the church members, and so we are now worshiping members, not God. God looks at the heart. He knew that what you have brought is the honest tithe and offering. And so if this week you don't have it, let it pass on.
Okay. So if even you are officiating,
yes,
and you have done
I
that.
do that a lot sometimes for people to see that it's not, if it is the truth anyway.
Yes.
If it is the truth, don't worry about what people will say.
Okay.
But if you know that the Lord has given you something that is still with you, and you are sitting there, you will not go home scot-free.
Okay.
So that's the difference.
So when you see somebody officiating and the bull passes by without a person putting anything in it,
he has not done anything wrong.
All right.
You see, when we were, I showed you a picture yesterday.
Yes.
The giver will give to you, the receiver, in order for you to take God's portion to the clergy. So if the giver has not given you, what will you take? That was the question I asked the other day. I said, how much is 10% of no income or of zero income? What would be the figure?
Zero.
So you go to the church. Does that mean that if it is zero, because you don't have it, you don't go to church too? You have to go.
Say don't go to God's house empty handed.
And that is Deuteronomy 40, and I have explained. So
Yes,
I believe that it's
All
no
right.
more valid now.
Okay, so I have this last question. Pastor, can I return tithe on the money my husband give? Oh, this we have done. We have said that. And said that. My money gives me for food.
I have answered already. So it's gone.
All right.
When
so
he gives you the money, go and buy the food. Now, Uko teach your body, and you want to save that money, it becomes an income. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that he has given you chop money. And you've started saving on that money. You manage a portion of the money for food, and the rest you keep for yourself. At the time that you want to disperse, it has become an income.
Okay.
So you can't chop it alone.
Okay. So, Pastor, this you have to repeat because I'm sure the person didn't watch our first lesson.
Yeah, I'm okay.
I took a loan, and out of that, if I return tithe on it, return tithe on the loan, and I use the rest to buy tricycle for business, do I need to return tithe again?
But the loan is actually not for you.
Yes.
You've borrowed the money, so it's not for you. You can't go and borrow somebody's thing and go and share with your God. Has God asked you to go and borrow for him? Because if he don't give you anything, he won't sleep. No. You went and borrowed. It's a prepaid. And in the Adventist church or in the Bible, you don't pay tithe on your capital. It is the increase. If you check from Genesis, it's the increase that you return your tithe. So don't go and use bank money and come and give God some, as if he cannot go to the bank to borrow. So you are smart, you are borrowing and sharing with him. God will not accept that.
Pastor Dr. Paul Ebisampa, thank you so much for your time and for the explanations you've given. This evening we looked at, should I receive this from you? I know you have learned a lot. So we are really going to plan our offerings. We are not just going to give because we are supposed to give, but we'll plan and then give. So same time tomorrow, we would meet and then continue with the stewardship seminar. I have a good news for you. So next week from Monday, we would have the Tithe version of this whole program. So don't worry, we have not left you out. So have a good evening. I have been your host, Pastor Obed Kwabena Obeng. Good night.